Usually they're just in a pen somewhere, so we'll be fine.
They've got to be here somewhere.
I think Horse Plus, I think it's an honorable thing they do.
It's like 12:30 in the morning. We just got back to the motel room and we rescued 53 horses.
And that is the most horses we've ever rescued in an auction before. We spent, I think, close to $20,000 buying horses last night. What we're going to be doing right now is we're going to the auction. We're going to sort all the horses. We have to do intake photos of them. I have to take a picture of each side of them. I try to get their face. And I also get their auction tag, because a lot of times in transport, the tag comes off and they arrive at our shelter and we're like, well, which horse is this on this receipt? And there's so many horses, it's too difficult to tell. That slaughter truck last night, it's gone now, but it loaded up with 6 horses.
They wanted 50.
They wanted 50 and we only got 6, so that's good. And these ones are sick with strangles, so we don't want to mess with them. Good morning. Apple? Oh, we got now. Yes. The auction guy can get that for us. 324. Yeah, that one's ours. I think both of these are ours. Horses that we know have, chronic medical problems that just from experience we know they're probably not going to make it. We haul them all together with any horse that may have, a sickness that might be contagious or something, because we have to move a lot of horses today. And if a horse is going to need euthanasia, we'll put it with a horse that may be really, really sick so that that disease isn't spread.
Usually they're just in a pen somewhere, so we'll be fine.
They've got to be here somewhere.
We've never had anyone actually take one of our horses the night before, but it certainly could happen. They do check at the gate for numbers, but we'll look around for all the rest.
Keep looking around.
I hadn't heard nobody missing anything this morning, so.
Okay. We just want to haul him with geldings. This donkey, this is a crest, it's all fat. He's really obese. So that's just a huge fat pad, and then all over his body, these are fat pads and fat rolls on him. So he's been eating a lot. He may, with a healthy diet, lose some of these fat pads on his side. He'll always have this crest. And if I've seen them where they're really, really skinny and their body's actually used up all that fat, and then it's just kind of loose skin and the mane hangs over. But he'll always have that extra skin and that weight there. Well, he's so sweet though.
I know, look at that sunburn. Oh my gosh.
So in the auction last night, it was walking really weird. And so the reason his feet are really long like this is because when they pull the stacks, that foot would have the strap over it, and they grow their toes out really long like that. This is all soaring chemical burns on this horse. All these blisters, scabs, it's all from chemical burns. And this is when people are like, oh, soaring doesn't happen anymore. I get these horses, I see it. This is outrageous. Chemical burns on horses. is just sickening. And this is why the big lick needs to stop, because they want to say, oh, this never happens anymore. So they put diesel oil, mustard oil, wrap it with saran wrap until those chemicals burn into the horse. And that's why we have all this scarring here. And then they put a chain on it. And when the horse is moving, that chain hits the burned skin and the horse flinches and it gets the big lick look at these shows. And so then let's look at the other front hoof. Yeah, just turn this way. Oh, baby. And so you can see here, more scarring. There's a open kind of scabby wound here. And then over here, we actually have so much scarring from chemical burns. And so this is a thrown away big lick horse. You see him at the celebration, the most amazing horse show in the world. But this is what happens to these horses when they're scarred to the point that the scars are visible. The USDA does inspections on them. This horse wouldn't be able to pass inspections. They're very good at covering up these burns, and this horse couldn't pass inspection anymore, and that's why it's here. Thankfully, this horse isn't going to slaughter, and that's what a lot of these people, they just want to hide their castaways from this show industry. They want to hide them, but the reality is when I'm here and I see them, I'll try to get them so we can tell their stories and help put an end to this abuse that's just rampant here in Tennessee. And it's culturally part of Tennessee, and people don't even know the reality of the chemicals, the burns and stuff, and they will all want to say this happened a long time ago, this doesn't happen now. Well, why does this horse, that's probably 15 years old, I mean, he's been doing this for a while, you can see the length of his teeth there, why does he have fresh scars and scabs on his pasterns? It's because he was sored, and that's just the reality of it. It's still happening, and that's why it needs to be stopped. So this one can go in with the strangles. His hoof is in horrible condition. They put silicone in there and spray painted it over to make it look like it was okay. It's experiencing a lot of pain. Our veterinarians and farriers, they're gonna have an interesting time with this guy because he's got a lot of issues. So as we're doing this process and we're sorting the horses, if we put a horse in a pen and it's not getting along with those horses, then we're gonna pull it out and put it in another pen and get it where it's gonna be okay with the other horses. So this horse, as you can see, has some major problems.
You're okay.
It's got teeth growing up under its jaw here, and it's rolled over. It would make it very difficult for this horse to graze. It's missing a tooth here. And let's see, get a side angle of it. Your poor mouth. Yeah, it's rough.
So we take pictures of each side of the horse, also their tag numbers, because sometimes when we get them back to the shelter, they don't have their auction tags on them anymore. So it helps us identify who they are. It also helps with paperwork, and we also post them on Facebook to get them named. And so we'll give them a name, and it helps us match the name with the horse.
53, and definitely put it that this one's critical. Bring him this way. All right, turn it this way.
Is that vet wrap?
It's just vet wrap, so it's going to be cutting off circulation. Back her up. All right. Try to get just the horse. I hope that doesn't have tendon sheath fluid on it or anything. And those are almost impossible to heal, but I hope it doesn't have that. Okay, he's done. So I'm here with Scotty, and Scotty's the auctioneer, and he's my favorite auctioneer because I can actually understand him.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Scotty Wilson. I'm my dad, Buck Wilson, my brother Steve, and myself on the Triple W.
The Triple W.
Triple W,
Yep.
yes. That's how you get. We sell chickens, ducks, turkeys, peafowl, any kind of barnyard stock, duck, goats, sheep. Horses we call it the horse sale, but it's just part of what we do. We're a service for the community to sell their animals, to generate money from their produce of their farm. Some of these people keep their horses longer than they should. They get in poor condition, decrepit condition, and that's what y'all see at the horse sale. But what I'm saying is we have them from world champions down to $10 horses, okay? We can't help it. We do not grade the animals that come to our sale.
Because it's a public sale.
It's a public auction.
Yeah.
It's for any animals that sell. If you got a chicken you want to sell, we'll sell it for you. If you got a log chain or a banty rooster, we'll sell it for you. And people bring their old horses here when they're, and we've talked about the condition of horses. When your grandparents get old and they go to the nursing home and they get all the nutrition and daily visits by a doctor and nurses full-time, 24/7, they still get thin, dry up, and die. Just like some of these horses are doing. They die the same way we do. Last night was our 38th year anniversary, 38 years. I was 14 years old, my brother was 9. And I am not against horse slaughter, I'm not against personal ownership until they die. The horse traders you're talking about that does the interstate travel, they generally don't own these horses for more than 3 or 4 days at a time.
Exactly.
They're at the next
And
sale.
that's
They're just
what
trying to make a quick $100.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And that's what-
listen, people have traded horses since the beginning of time.
yeah. Oh,
Since we
yeah.
caught them and started riding them, they've traded
Yeah.
horses. Indians traded horses.
Yep,
Everybody
like,
traded
that
horses.
one's better than mine. Let's keep trading.
You're not invading people's property and taking them.
No,
You're coming to the
no.
auction and paying for them, just
Yeah.
like it's supposed to be. And that, I think that's going to
Yeah.
make you all easily accepted
Yeah,
as we go along.
And we are different than a lot of other organizations
Here's the deal.
out there.
Absolutely.
Do have the evaluate them if
Absolutely.
that needs to be put down.
I've been hauling.
then it is.
I've been hauling for you guys for a year now, nearly every time.
Yeah.
And a vet's on site when you get there. I mean, you guys are 100. You know what you're doing. You
Yeah.
got your stuff together. And I mean, I'd go places that don't. Okay.
Yeah. It takes multiple trailers when we rescue this many horses. So that's our first trailer headed off, all the little animals headed to the shelter. So one of the horses we got here, we've tried to put in with other horses. It will not get along with anybody. So he's actually gonna ride in this trailer by himself, and we'll try to figure out how we're gonna integrate him once he's at our shelter. But he's dangerous to put with other horses. He's attacked him, he's pushed horses down, and we just can't have that. So I'm gonna load him in here, and hopefully he will enjoy his nice solo trip by himself. Come on. You can do it. Come on. We're gonna have a nice luxury trip. Just close that back door and then we'll come out. All right. Come on, you can do it. So all 53 horses are loaded up and we're gonna be headed back to our shelter. It's a long 2.5-hour drive. We're all exhausted. We've been up since 1:30. Well, I was up till 1:30 last night and then early this morning, and we've been loading horses, and It's a exhausting effort to do these big rescues, but it makes it all worth it because these horses need help so bad, and that's why we do it. So one of the first things I do when I sit down is I make a album on my phone just for this auction. So these are all the pictures I took this morning. I just have to get to the beginning and go through and take a picture of each horse and get them in the folder. All right, so now I've got all these pictures sorted out, and then I make a slideshow video for the auction so everyone can see the horses that we rescued. And it's not always the best because the horses get their heads chopped off on a lot of them, but at least it's the fastest thing I can do for our donors to be able to see, wow, they rescued all these horses.
Winds rage, waves break, all the sanctuary made. Hands they hold what matters most, the faith in which I'm saved. And I will rise up, I will rise, the world can take.
Wow, that went smooth. Glad we're back on the road now. This is the reality of horse rescue. You never know what's gonna happen.
So this is the second tire to change today. Pull this one off, you can run on the one tire. Probably.
Morning comes, the storm is gone, there's wreckage on the shore, and those who come to rebuild it all.
You just never know what's gonna happen when you're rescuing horses, and
So it's pouring rain. The axle setup on the trailer is a little bit broken, so we're gonna have to get that repaired, but it's pouring rain.
hey,
So I'm sure you know that we just had a monsoon.
because we've had such bad rain, we're gonna go ahead and unload them here. All right, come on, babies, come on. All right, so this is our awesome head shelter veterinarian, and he is here all the time. It seems like constantly doing stuff, and we all call him Doc.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in town that don't know my first name. It's just Doc. So been here since 1984, and I still love it in Lewis County.
When we first moved to Tennessee, he became our shelter vet. We were like, okay, who does large animals? And we're very, very blessed that you're here, because it's hard to find a good large animal vet, and you're a good one.
I aim for smooth. I don't want to do any spectacular things, just smooth.
All right, so he's 14.3 and 690 pounds.
You can see right down in here. That's actually bone all along through there. You can also see on these fronts how long their toes are. Scar right there along the side, the medial aspect. There's still a little bit of irritation here along the back side of the pasture, and again a little bit back here on the heel.
In the summer months here, obviously it's really hot. We're getting a lot of horses in that are really dehydrated, and we're having a hard time with their gut recovering and getting the electrolytes they needed. Plus it makes them drink more because it has salt in it, so it gets them hydrated better.
What about this blower?
We can go in the closet.
You mongoloid.
It had been a couple of days old, so it was so infected we didn't want to. We didn't want to suture a bunch of bacteria in his foot.
It's completely lacerated.
We'll give him some antibiotics by mouth. That is a shoe. This antibiotic is will last for about 4 days on horses. How often do you poke yourself?
You go that way? I go that way.
Doesn't need to be in the spot.
I don't know, several times a year.
I'm gonna be more stubborn than you. Ready?
So the Coggins they gave him said that he was ran through the auction in July, Triple W auctions, and he's 14 years old. So they just gave him Coggins papers.
14 hands. 895.
It's definitely been a long couple days. But having been on the board for 3 years, I have a whole new level of respect for the work that Tawnee and Jason have been doing all these years. So as a board member, I'm even more determined to help promote what we do and help support the work that's being done here. It's been an eye-opening experience. And I think it's just going to be a lot easier for me to be able to tell this story, although I've experienced this thing that I will never be able to unsee. The story has to be told and something has to change. It can't just keep going like this. And shutting down an auction is not the stopping point. You can't just shut down an auction and say, well, it's going to go away. Because I think that's going to make it even worse. So it definitely has changed me. And now I see why Tawnee and Jason have done all this for all these years.
Auction day's over with all the trailer problems, flat tires, repairing axles, rainstorms, trucks and trailers going into fencing. It's been 26 hours of auction rescue in 2 days. Well, since noon yesterday.
Since noon yesterday.
And it's always rough, but
we're always just totally wiped out, totally exhausted after an auction rescue. And
53 horses are safe though.
Yes, 53 horses are safe. Anyone out there that's following an organization, when they do a really big rescue, you know, I know you're wanting information about the horses and stuff, and know that that organization will get it out there as soon as they can. But in order to prevent compassion fatigue, you have to take time for yourself. And we do these really big auction rescues twice, I mean every month. And so, you know, right after the auction, you know, we have to take some time so we don't get burnout. We have to, I mean, we see a lot of horrible things.
I think Horse Plus, I think it's an honorable thing they do. And one reason I try to be here when they call is because I believe in what they do, trying to save horses from slaughter. And it's not a perfect world. But on some horses, when we have to end suffering, we can do that, either by helping getting them a better place to live or end-of-life decisions. And that's one reason, you know, it's just dedicated to, you gotta have something to believe in, and if you can end suffering, that's what I believe in.